Hello. Today's presentation, Battle Rhythm, is Stronger Together, and it's going to be hosted by Dee Ingram. So Dee is the Community Engagement and Partnership Coordinator for America's Warrior Partnerships Network, and the network provides local veteran serving organizations with a connection to resources when a veteran's request cannot be met locally. To find out more, please visit the network.org America's Warrior Partnership.org/the network. So that's it for me. Dee, I am going to go ahead and turn it over to you to welcome everybody.
Welcome everyone. Good morning or good afternoon or wherever you're at. Welcome affiliate communities, 4-Star Alliance members, veteran service organizations, and guests. For many veterans, the transition from military to civilian life can bring feelings of isolation, loss of identity, and emotional struggle. Today's webinar, we're going to explore how strong social connections, whether with fellow veterans, family, or with a broader community, can be a powerful force for healing and resilience. I'd like to welcome our subject matter experts, Andrew Coughlan, I think I said that correctly the first time, Alumni Regional Director West, and Kevin Sosa, Alumni Manager Florida from Wounded Warrior Project. And I'd also like to welcome one of America's Partnership's own, Cassandra Morgan. She's the program lead for Dine Naazbaa Partnership.
Well, thank you, Dee. As Dee said, my name's Andrew. I am a Army veteran. I've been with Wounded Warrior Project now for almost 15 years. It's been a long time, but it's a true honor to be able to continue to serve. My title is Alumni Regional Director. I am in our Phoenix office, so I oversee essentially everything west of Colorado. I did spend 11 years in our Jacksonville headquarters. I actually used to have Kevin's position, and then I also spent 5 years on the major gift team. So have a little bit of experience working with Warriors. I'll let Kevin introduce himself again, then we'll get right into it.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kevin Sosa. I am the alumni manager here in Florida. Cover a little bit of southern Georgia, all the way to the Panhandle, down to the Fort Myers Space Coast area. I have been with Wounded Warrior Project as a teammate for almost 10 years, but been a part of Wounded Warrior Project for about 13 years now. I was a warrior, first warrior, went through the programs. Andrew kind of brought me to his team and kind of followed his footsteps. So now I kind of do there. So that's where my experience comes to help out serve warriors as well in this connection social field for Wounded Warrior Project.
Thank you. All right. So hopefully I'm not clicking too fast and I skip over slides accidentally, but there is a little bit of delay on my computer. So first thing that we're going to talk about is our Warrior Survey. So the Warrior Survey that Wounded Warrior Project has been providing, I've been doing this over a decade, really just getting feedback from warriors and family members. How do we need to adjust our programs? What are some of the gaps in services? Getting real-time feedback from the warriors is really what we're using the survey for, and we'll go over some of these things here. So it is one of the most comprehensive studies of its kind, and as I mentioned, identifying some of those challenges that are affecting warriors. Some of the things here, and it's related to the first survey question. The loss of camaraderie, connection, and community is one of the biggest challenges that a lot of service members face. Now, when I left active duty back in 2006, I thought the two biggest challenges for me were going to be getting my VA benefits and finding a job. I was 22 years old, essentially just left Iraq. I was medically retired. Those I thought were going to be the two biggest challenges. Well, within 2 weeks, I had a job. The VA already sent me a letter saying, hey, come get your CMP. It wasn't until about 6 to 7 months later when I started noticing, hey, I don't have my buddies around. And I really did feel isolated. I lived in a rural community in West Michigan. The closest VA was 2 hours away. Yes, there was an American Legion post, a VFW post there, but for the most part, it was previous generations, which I have the utmost respect for. It's just not who I needed at that time. So I fall into that category where I was isolated and just wasn't connecting with my community. One of the things that I always say, when I'm talking with other organizations and veterans and really just people in the community is there shouldn't be any competition amongst us. Our competition is isolation, depression, suicide, and things like that. So the data points there on the bottom of the screen are what the warriors told us during this survey. 79% of them felt isolated. And it's interesting because a lot of warriors do live in these great big metro areas, Jacksonville, Atlanta, Chicago, Phoenix, Los Angeles, but they're still feeling isolated. Of course, we have warriors that live in rural communities all across the country, and that obviously plays a factor in it as well. So 75% just saying they feel left out of what's going on in the community, potentially even left out like even within their inner circle of family and friends, and then 72% feeling lack of companionship amongst those that they're closest with. So, Kevin, do you have anything to add there?
Nope, spot on, Andrew. Thanks.
All right. So, what are some of the other barriers or things that warriors are telling us? 38% are telling us that some of their physical and emotional health concerns are impacting their social activity. So, this can be anything from, hey, I was I was physically fit, mentally sharp while I was in the military. Now I have these injuries, wounds, illnesses that are impacting my ability just to go out to the grocery store. Or, hey, I used to be, super active and now I'm a wheelchair user and I don't feel comfortable working out or going to the gym or signing up for a 5K. Those are just some of the barriers. And again, this is coming from the latest Warrior survey. 68% of the Warriors said that they're lonely. I don't believe that this is a veteran issue. This is an issue that we just have in America, period. How are we creating better connection points and opportunities for warriors and families moving forward? And we'll talk about that here in a second on some of the things that Wounded Warrior Project is doing to help this. All right, so specifically to women veterans, I think it was probably back in 2018, 2019, somewhere around there. We started the Women Warrior Initiative. Of course, we all went through COVID. That kind of put a pause to some things. But I'll also tell you that the pandemic also opened our eyes to a couple things. And there were some positives that came out of that. When we were all forced to go virtual, we were able to reach more women veterans than ever before. We were also able to connect with veterans just in rural communities just by simply offering virtual opportunities. How come we never thought of that prior to COVID? Really not sure, but that's one of the very few positives that came out of the pandemic. So, but the Women Warrior Initiative, the Warrior Survey that we've conducted, you can see here that women veteran percentages are higher than their male counterparts in every single category that I've already mentioned. The isolation, sometimes it's just a connection issue. Sometimes women veterans, and I'm sure a lot of us understand this and have heard it, but a lot of times women veterans don't even want to raise their hand and say, hey, I'm a veteran. I served. Even if they served honorably, they served downrange, they saw combat, they did everything that their male counterparts. But there's still this stigma or this issue with women veterans wanting to say, hey, I'm a veteran. So Wounded Warrior Project has started addressing that not only with the Women Warrior Initiative, but also with women specific programming and connection opportunities. So, Kevin, anything to add there?
Nope, spot on. We did, just for the women veteran side of it, we did a women's town hall here a couple of years ago. Out of 100 women veterans, only one raised their hand on there. So that's something that we look at in the Women Initiative is really important for us to make sure that they have pride in the service that they did.
One of the other things that I'll add to with, the isolation part and feeling left out and the lack of companionship, when it comes to women veterans connecting with each other, we know this, that a lot of these women veterans are wives, parents, taking care of the household, also potentially caregivers to others, so they, I think it's just kind of, that motherly nature, or wanting to take care of others, that they're not stepping out and make sure that they're making those personal connections, and taking care of themselves as well. So there's a lot of stuff there, that still is a barrier for a lot of women veterans. So. Right. So now we'll talk about the alumni program. This is the program that Kevin and I are both on. I guess my claim to fame at Wounded Warrior Project, I was the very first outreach coordinator in the Southeast. I can tell you, I still remember taking my very first phone call from a supporter saying, "Hey, I want to take some warriors fishing." To be honest, I didn't know what my job was supposed to be. Wasn't sure if I was able to do it. So I said, let's do this. I think it'd be a great opportunity to get warriors around each other, get them out on the boat, and just have a good time. So I kind of got to help create what the alumni program is, obviously with a bunch of other people and ideas. But the alumni program creates meaningful engagement opportunities through face-to-face and virtual events for warriors and their families to connect with each other. I would also say connect with resources and connect with the greater community. And when I talk about the greater community, I'm talking about everything that's outside of the military and veteran space. All of us know this, that less than 1% of Americans serve today, and I think that percentage keeps going down every time. But I feel, this isn't necessarily how Wounded Warrior Project feels, but it's along the same lines. I feel if we want to get these veterans successfully transition, we got to get them out into the greater community as well. This can be anything from volunteering at church, with youth sports, with Habitat for Humanity, with the Red Cross, with whatever opportunity there is. I just think that's so powerful for veterans and their families to successfully and fully transition back to the civilian world. So some of these social connection opportunities, and this is just a handful: sporting events, dinners, coffee chats, family inclusive events. This can be anything from a picnic to a family bowling day to family Lego night. All those opportunities are very important for the social connection, just as long as there's some sort of connection point for the veteran and their families, not only with each other, especially in the family inclusive events. Obviously, opportunities to connect as a family, but make sure that they're connecting with other families. Movement events, these are anything recreational sport related. This can be golf, yoga, rock climbing, paddleboarding, kayaking, hiking, whatever. Just get out and move. You'll see later on that there definitely is a correlation between movement, overall mental health, and overall well-being. So service events, beach cleanups, I mentioned Habitat, food drives, things like that, opportunities for these warriors and their families to give back. I would say probably most, if not all, service members are service focused. So this is an opportunity to help them find a purpose again, or just simply give back in their communities. Peer-led events in groups. We have over 100 peer support groups around the country. To include, we are starting a couple groups over in Europe as well. And then we also have peer leaders in Guam as well, Guam and Puerto Rico as well. So these are warrior-led events or peer-led events where these leaders are at a place in their own personal recovery or transition that they're now leading these peer support groups and warrior-led events. The warrior-led events, when we first started, were essentially in the areas that we weren't. So essentially in areas that we didn't have offices. And that's just kind of helped us reach more warriors in some of these rural areas. But we also have, peer leaders right in Chicago, Atlanta, New York City, Phoenix, all the major metro areas as well. So, and then the other big part of the alumni program is our outreach and personal engagement and contact. While we're not case managers or social workers or anything like that, we probably have and I say we as in the alumni team, outreach specialists and alumni managers probably have the most continuous engagement with these warriors and families. So these warriors, they're going to call on somebody like Kevin when they're struggling, when they need a resource, when they, just want to chat. But also on the back end of that, our team is personally reaching out, whether it's text, phone calls. Hey, I see you haven't been active in 3 months. I just wanted to check in. Sometimes the most simple text messages or phone calls or emails, can be very meaningful and potentially save a life. So that's kind of a brief overview of the alumni program. I just wanted to add some pictures just in case we got some visual learners. I put this specific slide together so it was easy for me to just pick out some things that are happening out here in the West. So that picture on the far left, that is a picture from this last February up in Alaska near J-Bear, where we worked with active duty chaplains, and it was a good mix of active duty families and veterans for a day of snow tubing, camaraderie, connection. It was obviously it was a little cold, but it was one of the most impactful things, especially for some of these active duty families, because some of these service members just got back from a deployment. So it was just an opportunity for them to connect. Out in Hawaii, we have a monthly paddling event. That picture right there, we had about 35 warriors and families. Some of these are very experienced paddlers. Others, it was their first time. But there's also a history lesson there. We talked about the historical knowledge and the culture piece of paddling from the Hawaiian culture. But one of the coolest things is you have warriors that are experienced, just pulling those brand new warriors and say, hey, get in the boat with me. We'll do this together. So, that true camaraderie, connection, opportunity, and we're empowering some of the more experienced warriors to lead a little bit. And then I mentioned service projects. Here's a collaboration with us and the mission. The mission continues over in California, doing a beach cleanup. Again, easy opportunity just to get warriors. I mean, they're doing something good, but they're also connecting with each other. So all these events, these types of events happen all over the country, as I said, to include Europe, Guam, and Puerto Rico. So on average, the alumni team is hosting about 17 to 20 events per day somewhere around the country. Some can be virtual, but most are in person. So Kevin, anything to add there?
No, I think with the virtuals too, just to explain how we do the virtuals, those are going to be like skill buildings, trivia nights, families, cooking classes, things in that. So we do bring a social aspect and just people loving a fact of loving the same hobbies. We bring them like-minded individuals together, and then they build that social connections around the alumni program, as Andrew connected. So not only is Wounded Warrior Project just hosting the event, we're building that social connection and bonds with others. So if they're saying a Pokemon Go, they're going to have those conversations within those events to build those relationships outside of Wounded Warrior Project. So hopefully that they're not necessarily always looking for Wounded Warrior Project to take them on an engagement. They have now that community around them to continue their love for whatever that hobby may be.
Awesome. Thanks, Kevin. All right. So how do alumni events improve an individual's mental health and overall well-being? This is part what the warriors that are feeling isolated, left out, lack of companionship. This is where the alumni team is stepping in, and in some cases, personally inviting warriors to these events. So every single Tuesday, we have an email that goes out to all the registered warriors and family members that has all the events going on, and warriors are registering for it. Our first priority is to get warriors that have never been to an event. And sometimes it blows my mind, but I'm not surprised that sometimes I will select a warrior and I'll look, and they've been registered with Wounded Warrior Project for 10 years. And then for whatever reason, that specific event piqued their interest. And this can be for various reasons. Maybe they were going to school, or they were in a different part of their career, or maybe they just didn't realize that these opportunities were there. Or sometimes too is like, hey, I was scared, or I had anxiety going to these events because I didn't know what to expect. And then, they've been able to work through some of those challenges. So our first priority is to get warriors and families that have never been to an event, program event, and then we'll kind of go down the list. Also want to get warriors that haven't been to an event in a year. And then, of course, we have the warriors that will sign up for every single event. So that's kind of our plan to get more warriors, especially those that are feeling isolated. So I already mentioned personal outreach. We've done this a number of different ways, where we'll just take a block of warriors and their contacts, and we'll start calling them, or we'll text them, or we'll do events that we know that will be of their interest in their city, or close to give them an opportunity to get engaged and get connected with each other as well. So peer-led opportunities too. Sometimes this takes a little anxiety away. Even though I'm a peer and Kevin's a peer, we're both veterans, but we're also staff or teammates at Wounded Warrior Project, where that can also create some anxiety, because for one, they just don't know us. The other part of it too, we all know what the first day of school was like, and there's some anxiety. But if you're dealing with real world anxiety or depression or isolation, the last thing you want to do is walk into a room full of strangers. So sometimes having those personal connections, personal phone calls, even before the event, so that person gets to know you a little bit, and then they'll show up. And then one of the biggest things here is collaboration with other organizations. We're in this fight together. This is collaboration, with the big national organizations, the small grassroots community organizations, and everything in between. I can't tell you. We all know this. Collaboration is so important. What does collaboration look like? Can be different for each other, but if there's opportunities for Wounded Warrior Project to support you in your communities, please let us know, and we can definitely make those connections. So here you'll see our office breakdown. Everything that's like in the little charts, everything that is kind of shaded in gray are either field, or they're kind of like the major hubs. So like San Diego, for an example. But we also have field teammates in LA and Phoenix. We have field teammates in Kansas City and Dallas and Richmond, Virginia, Cincinnati, Miami. So we have offices all over the country. I have a teammate in Alaska. I have 2 in Hawaii. And then we have a whole team over in Germany that is doing programming for Europe. So for the most part, there's coverage, either a physical office, but the other thing, the alumni team, we host events all over the place, whether it's Montana, where we don't have an office, we will go there and host events. But this is also a key part where our warrior leaders and our peer support groups and those opportunities come in. And then also our partner organizations. So if there's a partner organization in Montana or Idaho where I know we don't have a teammate or I can't get to, if you have an event, how can I still let warriors know about that? So just make sure warriors and families are connected is the biggest focus for us. So how do we know that we're even making a difference? I mean, yeah, we're told. We see it, we can feel it. I was just at a outreach event in Williams, Arizona, which is up near Flagstaff, Arizona, last week, and a person there from the Arizona Air National Guard, or the Arizona National Guard, pulled me aside, and she just said, "Hey, you guys recently helped 2 of our service members." If you remember back, I think it was like January, February of 24, the Tower 22 drone attacks, most of those that were hurt in that attack were from the Arizona Air National Guard or Arizona Guard. But while this wasn't necessarily an event, we were able to step in and help provide support where the National Guard couldn't. And the feedback was, we saved a marriage, and I should say, and then the other situation, it was simply, there's a service member in the Arizona Guard that was being transferred to an SRU outside the region, and the Guard would not pay for very few household goods. So Wounded Warrior Project was also able to help and get them connected and get what they needed. So, but event-wise, customer satisfaction, warrior satisfaction is a big focus for us. We don't want to just host events for the sake of hosting events. We want to make sure that the warrior and families are having a good experience, that they're being connected with each other, that their overall well-being is also improving. So almost 98% complete satisfaction. This number could be skewed a little bit. I recently sent a warrior to a San Francisco 49ers game. This was last season. Had a great time. In the comments, even said he had a great time. It was the best thing in the world, but accidentally clicked that he was dissatisfied with the event. Unfortunately, that still gets factored in. So, and it also could be, the other way around, but I personally don't think it is. So, but then almost 90% of the warriors saying that they agree or strongly agree that just their engagement at these events has improved their quality of life. And again, there can be a lot of different factors into here. It can just simply be, hey, yeah, I went to this coffee chat, I connected with a warrior, but overall, it could have been their, second event that they ever went on and didn't have any different feeling, I guess. These surveys get sent out almost immediately after the event closes out. So you can see, one of the comments there, just honestly, just providing that opportunity for warriors in in an environment where they feel included, they feel heard, and they're able to connect with themselves. And then I have no idea what event this was, but you can obviously see that they had a good time there as well. So that is how we survey our events. A couple more quotes or comments from warriors. I will tell you too, I recently just attended our Carry Forward 5K out in San Diego, probably about a month ago. I personally invited a guy that I served with in Iraq 22 years ago. I knew that he lived in the area. I've seen him once in 22 years, but I told him, hey, I'll be out in San Diego. He straight up told me that he almost canceled that morning just because his anxiety was so bad. I'm glad he didn't. Him and I walked the 5K together. So about 45 minutes, he just talked. He talked about everything. He talked about, his wife recently left him. He talked about his stepson is now in basic training at Fort Benning, which has also kind of caused some of his anxiety and, maybe triggered some uncomfortable feelings for him. But at the end of the day, when we hung out afterwards, just him being able to personally, and I didn't do it for a thank you, but him personally thanking me for inviting him out to the event was really more than I ever needed. But really, it's getting warriors out, and sometimes those personal connections, those personal phone calls and texts, I can't stress that enough. You can use all the tools, you can use all the newsletters and the mass emails that go out, but those personal connections are really what's going to get a lot of these warriors who are feeling isolated, what's going to get them out. So, all right, Kevin, I feel like I've been talking the whole time, which I have. So if you're cool, I will turn this one over to you.
Yeah, and then just to piggyback off of what what Andrew was talking about a little bit about the surveys. It is sometimes navigating the surveys is a little bit harder. So that 98% is really good. You will see as we review those, because each time that we hit fully complete on an event, they get a survey and the Warriors are knocking those surveys. So they'll say, I had a wonderful time, it's disagreeable. So I'm in the same boat with him. But the fact is that we can measure and see how we can not just only continue to give impactful events, but how to grow as an organization. Maybe something didn't work. Maybe the vendor location was a little bit difficult, or they didn't want to come because of the location or something. So it helps us go. But some of the best practices that we've utilized when hosting events, as Andrew said, collaboration on events with community partners. I think this is very impactful because it not just only shows that Wounded Warrior Project there, but it also shows the Warriors and their families what other resources are available for them to be able to utilize for their everyday needs, right? We do somewhat of events here in Florida. We do probably, I would say, one outreach specialist does 1 to 2 community service projects a month, at least we try to, but they may be, that Warrior may be more community service based, so we would lead them to the Mission Continues, or wants to do some speaking and work with kids, we would lead them towards the Travis Manion Foundation, or find other organizations that they can work with to help them. But the more resources that we put into the Warriors, the more tools that they have and can help them defeat that isolation and get them out in the community. We find that communication before and after events definitely eliminates stress, as Andrew was talking about a little bit soon. There's personal connections, right? We send the emails, prior to the post, but those emails leading up to the 5 W's, as you see on the bottom of there, the 5 W's of the who, what, where, and why, and when it is, that eliminates some of the stress. Give them as much details. If we're going to, here in Jacksonville, going to a Jacksonville Jaguars game, I'm going to see a map of where the location we're at, where we're going to meet, where our seats are at. I'm going to try to eliminate as much stress and concern that they may have leading up to getting to that event. Our goal is to get them there, to engage them with other Warriors and show them a good time. They've already signed up, shown the interest through our post, right, that they want to attend, they've been selected, and we want them to make sure that they follow through that. Be adaptable, flexible. These are Warriors that we deal with on a day-to-day basis. There's life that happens. There's definitely, medical concerns. There's anxieties. There's all this. If you have to have real patience and flexibility with them, Warriors will call and they will cancel. They'll say, what we do and we practice here is usually we'll follow up and just be like, hey, just wanted to check in you. I know that you signed up. You couldn't make it. Maybe it was they had a family emergency or something may happen. They got called into work. Just wanted to check in with you, make sure you're doing okay. Is there any other events that we could possibly get you on? Don't want you to miss your opportunity. There may be more to it, right? They maybe tell you at that time, hey, my anxiety got to them, and we may lead them to another program. So there's other avenues that we can help. So we want to be able to be adaptable and flexible for them. Warriors share a lot, as Andrew stated earlier, right? You build relationships with them. I know a lot of Warriors, they call me up, they share information. As long as it's not harmful for that Warrior, right? Obviously, if there's no suicidal ideations, they're not going to hurt anybody else or hurt themselves. A lot of the stuff that they do, let it be confidential for you and that Warrior, right? That's part of the trust process, right? Warriors call me all the time. My phone is on 24/7, so I get these calls later than the work hours. As long as it's, I'm near it, I'll usually pick up my phone, have him. They'll talk to you about family issues, personal issues, things in that nature. They really trust you, not only as a teammate, but they look at you as a friend. And so they want to feel comfortable because they know that you're going to be there to have an open ear and possibly lead them into a direction that can help them. So you don't want to just say, Andrew tells me something's going on with his personal life. I don't want to go to that next person, that Warrior, and share and start spreading rumors, right? They trusted you on there, so trust to keep it in there and kind of lock those away unless it's going to harm them. have a sense of humor as well, as patience and understanding. Warriors, we all know, if we've all been veterans here, or live with veterans, we have a great sense of humor, right? Joke around. You don't always have to be serious, right? There's times to be serious, but there's also time to have fun with them. And warriors want to see that. If you're always serious, you're probably not going to get many people attending your events because it's a little bit too uptight for you. But have fun with them, interact with them. If they're out there walking, carry forward. If they're just stand up paddleboarding, be on there with them, joke with them, have fun, and have patience with them. We know we deal with a lot of warriors that only have PTSD and anxiety. They have TBI, brain injuries, right? So have patience with them and try to understand them as much. And then sometimes not everything goes well on events. So try to mitigate those situations as fast as possible, but then look to the warrior and understand what's going on within their life to possibly get them help and not just assume that they're just being rude or jerks for no reasons, right? There's always an underlining of why actions happen, right? So I would say probably 99.9% of the time when warriors are unhappy or send not happy messages or emails that just sound like they're real disgruntled, there's an underlining there. It's more in having patience with them and trying to understand what's going on with them. And just if there's any ways that you can help. Maybe they just got denied for an event. Right. So they send an email and say, when a word project will help them, I usually call them up and just ask them what's going on and see what's going on. Maybe they need it to go to that event. Maybe they need it to go take their kid out on this event because they're feeling lost or haven't got out of the house. So we would find ways to accommodate those needs. I've seen that numerous times. Warriors call me up. They're really angry, upset because they can't go on the event and say, what's going on? How come you need this event? And then they'll open up and share why they need it, and we'll find a way to get them onto the event. So it's okay. That's where that patience and understanding comes into. Anything else on that, Andrew?
You're good. I do want to answer a couple questions here in the chat. One was, how would a person in a community go about starting a peer support group with Wounded Warrior Project, assuming they're alumni with us? Yes, that is the first criteria. You have to be registered either as a warrior or family member. We do have a handful of family support member groups, and some are virtual as well. So the first thing, there's a couple different ways. One, you can just call the resource center, which I'll put that phone number, or Kevin can put that number in the chat, and just express interest. Hey, I'm a Wounded Warrior Project alumni, and I live in Flagstaff, Arizona. I know a number of warriors up here, and I'm interested in starting an official peer support group. All those, so the person in the resource center, they will then put in a program referral back to the alumni team, and then the alumni team will work with that warrior or family member. The other way, if that alumni or family support member is already engaged with the alumni team, just have them express interest. As I said, right now we have over 100 peer support groups around the country. I remember when we had 3, which was honestly not that long ago. So these peer support groups, they do work. Sometimes it's just an opportunity for the warrior just to connect with others. Let's see, there was one other question. What's the best way to connect warriors to Wounded Warrior Project? There's a number of different ways. Always the resource center, but which the resource center, for those that aren't familiar, we really have 2. One's in Jacksonville, one's in San Antonio. This is a call center, essentially, where warriors, family members, really anybody can call, but warriors or family members can call to register with Wounded Warrior Project to get internal and external program referrals. And this can be anything from, hey, I'm interested in attending Project Odyssey, or I need mental health resources. And that teammate in the resource center is going to triage that situation. Or it could be, hey, I'm looking for more information on service dogs. While Wounded Warrior Project doesn't have a service dog program, that resource center teammate will be able to help that veteran or family member get connected with those types of organizations. So Resource Center it is always an opportunity. And also when a warrior is registered or a family member is registered with us, we also have an app called My WWP. You do have to be registered to have full access of it, but there's different groups in there, all the events that we have in there, but also warriors can actually do program referrals themselves. So what I mean by that, if I'm a veteran and I need help with benefits, I don't necessarily have to call and let somebody know. I can just get on the app and put in my own program referral, and they'll still go to the appropriate team. So those would be the best ways initially. So Kevin,
also on the app real quick, Andrew, is that they have groups of interest on there as well, so that you can get connected. So I love golf, right? So I would put on there golf, and they would show like a community of warriors that also are interested in golf. And so they're building that kind of, it's like almost like a Facebook group type thing where they can continue those. Or if they attended an event together, they can continue to have the connections. So the MyDup.Peep is a real good app, and it's the events go live on there all the time, so it always has something. So if they like fishing, hunting, hiking, whitewater rafting, whatever it may be, if an event pops up around their area, it will come up there and show there so that they can register for that event.
Yep. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you. And I believe as soon as there we go. All right, Cassandra, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Hello, good afternoon. She Cassandra Morgan she Toheglini and Schle Kilichini Busischin Kiani da Shedo Toba da Schnelle. I am a United States Marine Corps veteran. I am the program lead for Dine Naazbaa partnership. And what we do is we work with America's Warrior Partnership and other partners like Wounded Warrior Project to help our rural and highly rural warriors out there on the Navajo Nation, which is basically about the size of the state of West Virginia. And it's highly rural, not much internet connectivity, but we try to help our veterans in any way possible with these partnerships and get them going. Recently, we had Wounded Warrior Project at our food box giveaway in November, and they were there. They're welcomed with open arms, had a good time. Our partners down in the valley in Phoenix helped us with food boxes, and so they were out there giving out information, helping all the Navajo veterans, the younger ones. And for us, we're really like a tight-knit family as far as the Navajo culture is concerned. So if you start to help the grandma, the grandfather, those type of families, and give them the information, then that rolls down to the warrior that's getting out of the service. When they come home, I talked to this lady at this food box giveaway who talked to this man, he's with this, organization. So those are the type of resources we try to get out there and help all of them. We've really been trying to hit our Navajo women veterans as well to get them involved, let them know that their service is appreciated and that they are veterans. And so a lot of people have stepped forward with that. And Wounded Warrior Project has also, I know they helped us in reaching out to the women warriors as well. So it's a lot of traveling and a lot of time, but it's a worthwhile cause. As a Marine myself, working with the older veterans, my dad, he's a Marine veteran, Vietnam veteran, getting their benefits and being that ambassador to the Navajo veterans, letting them know these are some of the resources that are available, and then taking my needs of the veterans and sending out to outside resources, letting them know what is available or what the needs are for my veterans on the reservation. So we're out there, we try to help as much as we can, and we're happy with our partnership with the Wounded Warrior Project. Yay. My upcoming events is we have a gathering, we call it Gathering of Warriors. This will be on the reservation in one of the homeside grassroots level veterans homestead. And what we do is we bring in traditional practitioners, and they do seminars, they do question and answer periods to what type of practices the Navajos do to help combat PTSD or different kind of ailments that might be, get them out of harmony, that type of thing. And so we bring them in, we bring the Veterans Administration in, some of their social workers or people, practitioners that try to help our Navajo veterans, but might not understand where they're coming from, what their lifestyle is, or all those cultural barriers that are there. So we're trying to bring them together, and they can go ahead and network with one another, so that way, in future appointments or what have you, they'll be able to set up something that will benefit the veteran. So a lot of cross-cultural activities happening there, and it's a 4-day event, and we anticipate at least 500 veterans to show up from across the Navajo Nation. It is open to all nations, being like any of the Pueblos, the Apaches, any tribal members. We're looking at any services, so it's pretty much open. It's kind of looking, hitting the aspect of camaraderie and such. So that's what they're there for. Have everybody together like a rural campsite. So it's pretty nice. The women come, that we have one teepee that we're going to be setting up, distinguished for women veterans care, women veterans talking circle, and how we can help them as far as getting them their resources, getting them to admit what they're that they did a good job in the service, and let them know that they're acknowledged, they're appreciated for their service, and how we can continue to help them. So that will be happening in October 9th through 12th in White Dunes, Arizona, on the Navajo Nation. So if you look at go to the Facebook page or the web page, just go ahead and register and get you there, and everybody's welcome.
Awesome.
Any questions, comments?
Okay. Yeah, I think they're turning it back over to me. Yeah. So I see there's a few questions in the chat. If you guys have any more questions for our panel today, please go ahead and put them in the chats.
Before we lose everybody, Barry Gore for Wish of a Lifetime. Barry had come in with, he works with older veterans. Barry, can you come off mute and tell us a little bit about your program so people can know more about Wish for a Lifetime?
Sure, thanks, Allison. So at Wish of a Lifetime, we are a nonprofit, Colorado nonprofit organization that is affiliated with AARP, and we grant wishes to older adults age 65 plus. And we do I just put in the chat, about 25% of our wishes are reconnecting others with loved ones and friends and family. And we do probably about 20% of our wishes, I think in 2024 were for veterans. And so if you know of older adults, but especially warriors or veterans that through that isolation maybe haven't seen family members, that maybe they don't live near, we can take a wish application from them and consider flying them out to see their family. There's no cost to the wish recipients when we grant a wish. Unfortunately, we can only grant about 20%, 23% of the wish applications that we receive. We get over 1,000 a year, and we grant about, I think this year we're on track to do about 285 wishes. But we definitely give consideration to veterans because of their service. So, if you've got somebody who's really struggling to try to reconnect with someone, we'd love to hear from you. And it's wishofalifetime.org. That's where you can find our application and the criteria for our wishes.
Thank you, Barry. I appreciate you coming and giving us that information, and I appreciate everybody that came here today.
And so while Allison is pulling up our closing slides, I'd like to thank Andrew and Kevin and Cassandra, always there for you, girl, for their informational presentations. Always intrigued. I've worked with Wounded Warrior Project many times, especially in Mississippi, the Biloxi area. You guys have been fantastic to some of our veterans. And then I'd like to thank all of you for collaborating and sharing. At America's Warrior Partnership, we partner with communities to improve veterans' quality of life and thereby reduce veterans' death by suicide or self-harm. We believe communities are the best equipped to improve veterans' quality of life overall. So our goal at America's Warrior Partnership, and our goal today, is to provide community partners like yourself with support, information, and the best practice to help you deliver the quality of services to our veterans in your own communities. So the next Battle Rhythm is October 6th. It's focused on the National Guard. I just got back from the National Guard Conference in Nevada, so I'm excited about that. And we hope you all can attend. And until then, thank you and have a great rest of your day.